Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to PSGL Season 25 FPT at Round 8 at Belgium. I'm your commentator IRL Neon. I'm also joined by my co-commentator Felix, or F3 if you're here.
Hello everyone.
Yes, he is.
I'm glad to be here once again for the third time in a row now.
It's good to have you here as well. It's currently we only have 17 drivers now. Actually, we did have 15 like a couple of minutes ago, but a few more have turned up, so it's good to see. As it is 8 o'clock. I believe we should have been underway, but I think we're waiting for some drivers to still load in, maybe having a few issues. Also, I am going to be clarifying that there will be no interviews for today. There's been a bit of issues with parties, with connections, and like sometimes you can hear somebody clearly and then the other guy is like a computer sound, so we've had a few issues with that, and unfortunately we won't be doing any interviews today, but interviews will be back next week. As Felix, have you got anything to add on that, or?
No, not really, but we could talk about the track a little bit already. I mean, it's definitely one of the more exciting tracks, I'd say. One of the most famous tracks in the world. Spa-Francorchamps, such a historical track as well. I mean, who doesn't love the uphill right-hander of Radion? I mean, pretty much blind, especially in real life. That's really tricky to take, but yeah, sadly of this game they haven't like nailed the track that well. I've heard many people complain that it's nothing like real life, which is a bit sad, but still, it's still a fun track to drive, I think.
Well, yeah, that is true, of course, and with Radion, people sometimes just calls that full big corner just a rouge. Apologies if I don't call it Radion, I'm used to calling it a rouge. In my opinion, the full corner is a rouge. And it will be interesting to see if there's any instance up that hill as well, because traction up there, if you just touch the curb, the rear end is just going to snap from you if you haven't got a stable setup, which I've experienced a few times being in PSGL at Spa. I've had a few incidents with that, and just the braking zone as well in turn 1 is going to be crucial as well, yeah. Felix.
I mean, especially lap 1 is going to be quite hectic. It's usually quite hectic. I mean, you've talked about it already. Turn 1 Lassau's a really tight corner, really slow corner already. So drivers need to be careful to not lose their front wing. And then, like you said, or Rouge or Radion, whatever you want to call it. And then especially on cold tires, you know, it really depends on the setup if you can get through that quite easily or if you have to be on the edge all the time. So it's not rare that we see many drivers going out on lap 1 through a Rouge in league races, so that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and people are going to have to, well, if they're on a good strategy, say like the mediums to soft strategy, since it's basically a one-stop round here, if they are doing the reverse to soft medium, they've got to make sure that they don't get wing damage into turn 1, because turn 1, as I've said, in the braking zone, if you're using line, of course, and it tells you when to brake and you're on the line, sometimes it doesn't actually is actually correct with the braking there. Sometimes you might need to brake a little bit early, and if you don't, you could rear end somebody. But you just need to pray that for the first few corners you take it nice and tidy and don't get any front wing damage, and hopefully there's no big crash through a Rouge, as we don't want to see 5 cars retiring because someone's just spun it or gone really slow up there. But it is F1, anything can happen, of course, as people now are starting to ready up, so I think we will be going underway very shortly.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, Jared, I already visited the track 3 times now while F1 was on, and just that feel, just seeing the cars coming down out of turn 1, flying up Eau Rouge already on, and then flying on the camel straight, trying to just get the toe from the cars in front, then going for a move into Les Combes afterwards. That is just something really special, and yeah, I could not even imagine what it feels like in the actual car in real life. In the game it's not as exciting, but it's still quite nerve-wracking, to be fair. I mean, there could always be unfortunate incidents in front of you.
Yeah, that is true, of course, but you also have to, with the Spa race, you also have to be careful on the weather as well, because as we did say, soft, medium, medium, soft. could be a thing, but it actually could be full wets or intermediate conditions. So we'll also have to take that into a factor as well, and that will make this this track harder to drive and harder to overtake.
Yeah, of course. I mean, then you need the straight line speed to actually be able to overtake somebody. But then obviously you're going to be lacking in the fast corners where you actually need the downforce. Especially the Williams drivers today, I think, will be really struggling on this track with all the fast and quick corners, which are very, downforce related, where you actually need it. And our two Williams drivers today are actually not Bugatti, but as you can see right now, it's Ash and Lico. So Lico, who's been catching up massively in the championship to Bugatti, who's still leading by 4 points at the moment, but he has been catching quite a lot in the last two races due to the fact that Bugatti DNF'd in Silverstone, I think it was, and only scored 5 points in Germany. So maybe we could see a switch today.
Yeah, that is true, of course. As Big C has mentioned, that a person called Joe is making his debut today in the Haas, I believe that is. He's making his debut for the FPT here. As you did say then, Lickle is in the Williams. He is at a disadvantage compared to Bugatti, who's in the Toro Rosso, which has got a little bit more downforce, however. But look at Callum Anderson. Callum Anderson was in a Ferrari last time he won a race in Austria. Could he have another win to his name in that Ferrari? As we've seen, the Ferrari can be quite quick at certain tracks, which you may need a little bit more downforce than anywhere else.
Yeah, and you can see the drivers are out on track quite quickly, and it is very cloudy. It's pretty overcast on this track right now, so we might see some rain coming up in the next few minutes, and that would make sense why the drivers are rushing out that quickly right now. We still got a few guys in the pits, but I think we could see some rain. I mean, the weather doesn't deny it at the moment.
Well, yeah, that is true, of course, as everyone is actually on the soft type, except the Mercedes driver of Sutty. He's on mediums, still in the pits, however, and Bugatti will be the first one to begin a qualifying lap, so he wants to get things started early, especially with the Toro Rosso, of course. Hasn't got the straight line speed, which is the only disadvantage for the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull at this track. But straight line speed isn't everything, as you can pass through corners if the weather in the race is going to be wet or inters. But Felix, before Bugatti goes on his lap, what is your qualifying prediction then for everybody in today's race?
I'm actually thinking that Bugatti will bounce back this weekend, and I think he will get the pole, but we definitely need to have a look at Callum Anderson as well, who is in the Ferrari once again. He sadly tends to sometimes bottle, which is pretty easy on this track, to be fair. I think Lickle's going to be struggling today in the Williams, but yeah, I think Bugatti will be the man to beat today.
Well, Bugatti's getting a little bit of slipstream there from the Alfa Romeo, and we will go on Joel, debut driver in the Haas, later on after Bugatti's done his lap. We will give him a little bit of screen time, as I believe that was the Alfa there cutting the chicane there, trying to get out of the way for Bugatti. And as long as he doesn't affect his lap, I think he may be allowed to do that. However, though, Bugatti is on a good lap so far.
Yeah, that slipstream definitely helped. I mean, you could see how much that maybe could compensate the engine difference or the top speed difference between the Honda and the other Ferrari or Mercedes powered cars.
Well, yeah, that is true, of course, as the Toro Rosso Honda then with that slipstream he had could be up the pace a little bit, probably only a tenth slower than the Mercedes and the Ferrari then. As we have to say, the Toro Rosso Honda engine has developed quite well in the years it's been back in, like one as a supplier for engines. As right now then, that Toro Rosso is going to get a nice tasty bit of slipstream from, I think that is Ushin there, as he's really behind him, and it is Ushin, as we'll see how he does at the end of the lap. The Alfa needs to get out of the way. Bugatti is on a lap, and yes he does, he pulls out of the way there. And let's see what Bugatti will do then on the final two corners.
You know, let's wait and see. Bugatti first of all comes over the line with a 144.4. Let's actually see. I could imagine Ushin and Bugatti giving each other slipstream, because Ushin stayed in front and then gave more slipstream to Blanchimont. And
As we'll go on board with the debut driver Joel, who's actually invalidated on his first attempt. Sorry to cut you off there, Felix.
Yeah, no worries. But I can confirm, yes, Ocean actually gets the slipstream from Bugatti, so maybe a bit of team play involved there. As Bugatti gets out the way.
As the racing point of Mr. Grumpy has gone off the track completely there and has lost a bit of his front wing, and this isn't good because apparently the weather may be getting a little bit worse in 5 to 10 minutes time possibly. And the Williams is in 9th and 11th right now, as I believe Ocean then, as you did say, was on a lap, but he's actually invalidated. So
I can see rain. I think I saw some.
Yeah, there is rain. There is rain coming down. So rain has already started to hit the track as Dre is about to finish his lap on a set of softs in the Haas. This could be crucial to where he qualifies compared to everybody else. He's going to get a little bit of grease on his tyres from the rain. And let's see what time he will do. It could be a 1:46. It's a 1:45.9. Takes 12, just behind Ash. As this is actually unlucky there for Joe right now, as he's currently on a lap. As we'll give him a bit of screen time, as we did say we would. As we will see,
he comes across the line. P9 on the medium compound. That's really not bad. Good work there from Sotty and the Mercedes. I was wondering why he was out on the mediums, but if he actually manages to qualify inside the top 10 and the race is actually in dry conditions, he might have the strategic advantage actually.
Yeah, that is true, of course. So
and he's gone into the wall. Sorry to interrupt you, but out of Radion, he just lost the car, I think because of the slippery track right now, and he's just threw his car into the wall, and yeah, he won't be able to set another lap right now.
As here comes Stroll at the final corner, as he's coming up to the line for his debut qualifying attempt. As his first lap was invalidated, he does a 1:46, goes 14th, and about a second off his teammate, but that might be because of the weather, which might let him down. Tim splits them two, so I think it is the weather, of course, because Tim only goes at 46.6, so the weather has already picked up, and I don't believe anybody else is going to improve, as Ushin is on a lap right now on ERS Mod 3 in the Alfa Romeo. If you want to take over that lap there, Felix.
Yeah, we can see he's definitely struggling with grip. The track is very wet already. I mean, I don't think that drivers can improve quite a lot right now. I think his first lap was invalidated or something. He definitely goes down to non-ERS mode at the moment. So,
yeah, so I think
he abandoned his lap, and that's very unfortunate for him because he had the slipstream from Bugatti. I think he might have just as he loses the rear end, he might have just invalidated his lap time, and that might have ruined his whole quali session now. And if I'm honest, I don't really think there are going to be any changes. I mean, look at the track and look at the weather. It's just way too wet right now to actually go out for another lap. And Boomer and Mr. Grumpy have already retired from the session, as they probably think it won't get better. But what did I tell you, Jared? Keep an eye on Bugatti and Callum, and both currently in P1 and 2.
Yeah, I was going to mention about Callum in second place in the Ferrari now. Bugatti's going to be in a bit of trouble then with that Ferrari car right behind, especially on those straights on lap 1. As long as it's dry, that Ferrari can challenge that Toro Rosso in the corners and the straights. In the rain, I don't know. I don't know what Callum's setup is. I don't know what Bugatti's setup is. Those guys could be running a wet setup. We don't know what the weather is in the race, of course. And I think DRS has now actually been disabled, so it is no more dry running then. And I think people will now start to retire from the session and get on with the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate for the guys who weren't able to put in a proper lap right away, as we've got Tim who has spun through Blanchimont. That must be due to the wet conditions.
Joe's
right
gone
now.
off. Joe went really deep in the
also,
chicane there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can improve right now. There's no way. So quali is basically over now, except if it's drying up again towards.
Well,
the
Callum's
end of the
going out on
session.
intermediates.
That's interesting.
Maybe there is rain in the race, and he may want to test the intermediate conditions. There's only two people who've got them ready. Is Callum
Greeny as well.
Oh, Greeny's out as well then. So maybe does this give us a hint that there's possible rain in the race? And we did say weather could be a factor in Spa. So that's very interesting. Oh, didn't mean to go on cherry that. As we really need to keep an eye on both of these drivers and see how they can take the track, as it is into conditions now then, of course, definitely. But what do you think then times they would set if it was intermediates, if none of these dry tyres guys set, as Nanabacon's also gone out on inters, and so is Dre.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a hint for the race. I mean, we had that in PSGL 3 actually. That the quali session, or was it PSGL 3? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was.
Where the quali session went wet towards the end. I'm not sure. I definitely had it in some league race, and then drivers went out on the intermediate tyres, and
Callum's gone off.
Lost it. He keeps it out the wall though. And then drivers got out onto the track on inters, even though they knew they weren't going to improve or anything, just to get used to the track conditions. And I think it could really help if you just have an idea where to brake for each corners, because obviously that's a lot different in wet conditions than what it is in dry conditions.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and if anybody in this tier is using ABS as well, they also have to take that in fact against people using no ABS. This is where people with no ABS has the advantage over ABS a little bit, because ABS people can't brake if you're using line, of course, as well, where it tells you to brake, because you'll just completely blow the corner and rear end someone. You actually have to brake a lot earlier. But no ABS, you actually can brake where it tells you to, if you do use line or not, or wherever you preferably brake. As the rain looks like it's staying then for the rest of the quali, as Greeny will be attempting a quali lap then, as we will stay on board with him as well. But there's only a few people who've gone on the intermediate tyre then. Do people may think it may dry off in a couple of minutes, or do you think that's completely out of the question there, Felix?
Could be, but could also be a case of trying to save the tyres for the race then. If it's actually raining in the race, Greeny's lost it. Oh, he keeps it out the wall. Well held, my friend. But yeah, there might be the people who have stayed in, and if there's actually going to be rain in the race, they might want to save their inters. I think you've got 3 sets of inters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is correct. Oh, Callum makes a mistake there as well through Rouge. So it looks like Rouge and Radion are really going to struggle then in the conditions for Greeny and Callum, because the setups they may have may completely be dry. As they just didn't have a lot of grip, as Callum's actually backed off completely, and there's nobody else going out on laps, as Callum's actually lost it there, just unfortunately just on the acceleration.
Yeah, I mean, we saw something similar in 2018 in real life at Spa in the practice session actually, when there was rain, and not many drivers were brave enough to go out, because obviously you don't really want to risk the car. On this game it's something different, because the car is definitely being fixed for the race, but in real life, for example, they didn't want to risk the car, so they didn't go out. But we had some people who, just in case if there was going to be rain at the rest of the weekend, just to be prepared a little bit better than all the other drivers. But we can definitely see Callum is really struggling with it right now, and Greeny has actually been able to finish the lap, it looks like.
Well, yeah, he will finish slow, of course, but it will be invalidated, and it won't be an improvement on the softs compound. There's no way, unless he has like a rocket engine in that car. But in the Alpha, currently in 5th right now, he should be happy with that. He's got a better engine, because I believe he was in the Toro Rosso last week, or the Williams, I believe. So he should be happy in the Alpha, especially at this track, of course. But Callum should be even more happy right now as well, especially with the Ferrari engine, as we have been talking about Callum a bit. Oh, Greeny's completely done it again. It just looks like they're trying to master that corner there, and it just looks like there's no grip as Callum is peeling to the pits then.
Someone else has gone out though. One of the Red Bulls, it looks like. It is Dino in the Red Bull car with his green helmet right here. He's trying to get used to the conditions as well. But yeah, we saw many people who actually were out struggling through turns 2, 3 and 4, which are Rouge already on. And that is going to be a factor if it's actually going to be wet. I mean, it's all speculation we're doing right here, because we don't have any clear information, as Juho went completely off the track. You should be careful now, because he's kind of going the wrong way. The game might disqualify you for it, but nope. He's going to
continue on a lap. As Joel says, he only bought the game yesterday.
Oh.
Jimmy, I don't know, man. Who is Mr. Tuesday Night, yeah? As Joel yesterday, he only bought the game yesterday, and he said, please be kind, Mr. Tuesday Night.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy for you, mate, especially in these conditions, but he could surprise
Oh,
us, and Juho was
ah,
lost it
right,
as
Joe.
well.
Oh, he has lost completely. Oh, and he does a Magnussen there. Well, not complete Magnussen, but he just loses the rear and hits him.
Yeah, sadly, the game doesn't have rear wing damage implemented, which is, in my opinion, a really stupid thing. I mean, you can... Like, it makes no sense for me, to be honest. Because, why would you have front wing damage when you don't have rear wing damage?
Well, Juho apparently set purple sector
just
1.
fly off as easily. Yeah, that's just the great thing about this game, isn't it? I mean, purple first sector, I highly doubt that.
Well, you never know, anything can happen. It is a Mercedes.
Yeah, maybe was just flying over turn 1. And then,
That is true, of course. I believe that's Dino who's gone completely off. Yeah, that was Dino. Oh, Nina's got no wing.
Oh.
So he's had a big crash there through a rouge, and there's only 2 minutes 38 seconds a minute, so I think he will go into the pits and retire. As Charity Pat is also out on softs, apparently.
Softs?
Yep, he is out on softs. I don't know why, but he is.
Okay, then.
It's definitely not softs, my friend. It's definitely intermediates. As look, you can just see that in 8th gear, he's struggling.
Yeah, he's making the good old F1, yeah, what game was it? Where you could just take ridiculously high gears in the rain just to get the traction down. I think it was 2018 or 17.
Could have been, I can't remember. As now people are calling it quits then and retiring. So the race will begin very shortly then, as I think a lot of people now are going to retire as well. And so it looks like the qualifying is going to stay as it is, and it looks like Bugatti and Callum and Boomer are going to be the top 3. And yet again, Boomer and Callum Anderson are really starting to pick up the pace, especially in PSGL FP right now, as they've been a lot of times on the podium. I believe Boomer won Britain and Callum Anderson won Austria. So it's very interesting, especially from these two in different cars.
Definitely, very impressive. And we see many people go down on softs. Who are now have to realise that the track is not dry enough, lads. Don't even try it. Don't make unnecessary work for your mechanics. And we have another car spun round. That's in the last sector. Is that Cherry Dupree? Yes, it is. And,
well, while we while we wait
Dino
for
set a lap.
retire.
Dino's
16th.
set a lap actually, and he's moved up a few positions because Ocean and Juho have not set any laps. So he just gained, I don't know if it was 1, 2 or 3 free positions, but he definitely gained
with no front wing.
Yeah.
He passed Ocean, Juho and Mr. Good with no front wing.
That's quite smart to do. I mean, he didn't have anything to lose. Ocean is still out, but he's on the softs and he won't make it to the line.
That is true, of course.
In the pits. And I'm pretty sure we'll see the end of this quali session anytime soon now, and Ocean is really struggling for grip right here.
He might lose it on this flat left-hander. He lifts off and somehow manages to keep the car intact. But yeah, you're right there, he ain't going to make quali.
Tim holds on a lap, not anymore. Oh, he still is, he saved the car. Well played, mate, really well held. That looked quite sketchy. I don't think that was the fastest way to take the corner, but fair play for holding it.
That is true, of course, as he is the only one out on lap with Greeny.
Oh, Greeny holds it. Greeny has had a really good run through there. I think he's basically the first one to actually get the corner right.
I'm guessing that's a Rouge.
Yeah.
Notice Tim's actually retired then. But yeah, the question I was actually going to ask you before we saw Tim almost lose it is actually the race prediction then. Who do you think is going to be your top 4 for the race, or do you need the weather conditions for that prediction?
I would wait a little bit for the weather conditions, but I'm just going to definitely stick with Bugatti and Callum. I think they'll have quite solid pace, and I wouldn't count Boomer out just yet either. And also maybe Greeny. Obviously the Alpha hasn't got that much downforce but it definitely is more than the Williams, and he's got the Ferrari engine behind his back, and he's qualified P5, which is not too bad. So he might be up there as well, but we'll have to wait and see for the conditions. It could be a very crazy race if actually the rain actually comes. And yeah, just as a quick note, if it's dry, he might have a really good strategy advantage over the others starting on the medium compound.
That is true, of course. Now we'll wait for green now to cross the line, and there we go. Qualifying is eventually over. It's good evening, Francis, and good evening, Big C. Welcome.
Just wanted to get the stream up real quick as well, so I can keep an eye on the comments as well. There we go.
So there we have the qualifying then. Bugatti in first, Kalmanson second, Boomer is in third, Cherry Pie in fourth, Greeny is in fifth in the Alfa Romeo, Goldbike in sixth, Nanobirk in seventh, From is in eighth, Sutty in a great strategy for ninth on the mediums, Lecole in 10th, possibly wants to challenge Bugatti in the championship, needs to pick up some places today and try and beat him. MS in 11th, Ash in 12th, Dre 13th, Tim Hall 14th, Joel on his debut in 15th. Good to see is Haas beating the Inters of Dino, and everybody else after Dino unfortunately didn't set a lap time. As Juho says, reason why I spun so much in this garbage game is that there's no contact between car and tyres and track at all, and don't have any kind of feel what car is doing until it is too late, which I can agree with you with that, as we have now got the weather now. It looks cloudy again, so we could possibly see some rain later in the session.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Could be exactly what we were talking about. Drivers going out just to get used to the conditions, if they might come later, and maybe that's why Sotty has actually qualified on the mediums as well. Maybe he thinks the softs won't make it till the rain comes, and if that's actually the case and he can get those mediums till the wet period, he could be right up there.
Well, yeah, of course, it's a 22 lap race in Spa, and softs, I think only softs will be optimal to lap 8, but they could go to lap 14 and possibly get a puncture, though. That's the only issue they possibly could get, as mediums can go to lap 16 to 17, then you can go to softs. As right now we will see with the tyre compounds, did anybody in the back change tyre compounds? Actually, Dino's gone on a set of hards in the Red Bull in 16th, and Tim in the Renault's gone softs. That is very interesting there.
Okay, but most people are on the mediums. There might be two reasons for it. Either reason one could be what we were talking about, that they think that there is actually rain coming and they think they could take the mediums till the rain is coming, or they just want the reverse strategy.
Yep, that is true, of course. And also Joel on his debut is in 15th. He has a Renault in front of him on soft tyres, who he may not be able to challenge straight away at the start. He's going to be quite quick, but he also has a person behind him on hard compounded tyres in the Red Bull of Dino, who he also may have to watch out for.
And Bugatti's already hit the wall on the formation lap. Hopefully he's done with that now. Better now than in the actual race. So
as the Renault's gone off as well.
Hopefully that's not happening in the race.
That is true, of course. And the people who didn't set lap times then was Ushin in 17th, Juho 18th, and Mr. Grumpy, who unfortunately retired from the session, I believe after making a mistake or having a crash, since he couldn't set a good lap time, is in 19th on the medium compound of tyre, which is also a very good tyre to be on, as they can go basically to the end in theory. As someone says, I want the 2010 start, rain in lap 1. Well,
I remember that 2010 race. That was brilliant. I mean, I think there are many people remembering that crash between Sebastian Vettel and Jenson Button coming into the bus stop chicane and towards the last chicane, where Vettel lost it on the damn track and slammed into the sideboard of Jenson Button, picking up a big penalty, I think, as far as I remember. I was very little at that point, so my memory might be a bit wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was something like that. But I definitely remember that race, more or less.
Yeah, I think that was right as well, as my memory isn't the best since that has happened. And right now then we will be actually starting the well, 2020 technically, but it's not 2020 game, it's a 2019 F1 game of Spa of the FPT. It will be starting very soon. And right now, Bugatti is in pole position and Callum Anderson in second place. Now, Callum Anderson will be licking his lips, especially with that Ferrari, and so will be Boomer as well, as Boomer could actually help Bugatti with the same engine supplier, of course, but not his teammates. So, who's going to have the advantage into turn 1? Is it going to be the Toro Rosso, the Ferrari, or is it going to be the Red Bull of Boomer? Only time will tell.
Out in a few seconds. I'm keeping an eye on the back of the grid yet again.
That's good to see. As we wait for the light sequence starts, we see the marshal waving the green flag to get the light sequence starting. As now 2 lights, 3 red lights, now 4, now 5 red lights to start the Spa Grand Prix of the FPT and PSGL. As Bugatti's had an okay start, so is Callum Anderson, as the Renault there is trying to get a move, and so is the Racing Point. Right now though, it's into turn 1 as Boomer is passing Callum Anderson. But look at the grip Callum has compared to Boomer, as there's no incident as I can see from the back at the moment. And there we go, Callum Anderson retakes the position as there's a few overtakes further down the grid.
Yeah, I mean, they kept it quite clean at the start so far. Hopefully everything goes fine through Eau Rouge as well. Yes, they do keep it clean.
Here comes
Very nicely done.
That is true, very nice and tidy to see. Everybody nice and tidy through turn 1 and through Eau Rouge. And Callum Anderson does take the lead there, and that's where the Honda engine just lacks right now. And this is where Boomer could take a little bit of advantage, because he's got a bit of a better chassis and an aero compared to Toro Rosso, but the Toro Rosso isn't that bad.
In the meantime, Nicholas lost his spot to Frome, who he tries to get back past now. Safety car.
Wow.
AMS has retired from the race. That's a very odd place to crash, actually. Dre gets a 5-second pen for the collision with AMS. I wonder what happened there. But we definitely have a safety car. And I gotta say, they kept it quite clean. I didn't expect a crash to happen in that corner, to be fair.
Yeah, that is true as well. Now, I'm actually quite surprised that was the safety car, because I did try and go on board with AMS to see what happened, but unfortunately the game went to save view profile as soon as he's retired, and Dre's got a bit of damage there to his front wing there. He's lost an end plate. Now this is very interesting. He could still do medium to soft, or he could do soft to soft strategy, which possibly could be quicker in the long run, but if there is rain possibly due, I'd probably still get a new fresh set of mediums and go near the back of the grid, and then go on softs near the end of this race.
Yeah, and we had exactly what we were expecting, to be fair. Callum Anderson taking the lead on the Camel Straight because of his slipstream he got from Bugatti and his better engine. So Bugatti lost his P1 at the moment. Cowboy dives into the pit lane. I don't know if he has damage or not, but we definitely had some position changes at the back. Most noticeably, Mr. Grumpy has gained 6 spots from the start. He's up into P13 after starting 19. Juho is up into P14 as well after starting P18. And Cowboy has dropped 9 places now. I don't think he even changed front wing. I think he just
I think it was a tyre change.
I think he just pitted for a new set of tyres. Greeny with a good start as well. He's moved up to P4. Could be maybe on for a move after the safety car restart if he gets it right on one of the 2 Honda engine cars in front of him.
Yeah, well, that is true, of course, as well, as Joe is in 12th on his debut race day, and he's gained a few positions, gained 3 in total, and he's doing quite well in the Haas, especially on those mediums, and not to get any damage, as we did see there was a crash between AMS and the other Haas driver of Dre. So right now Joel's having a good start to his debut race right now, as he's currently in 12th, and it looks like he could scrape some points up for the Haas team, or himself, right now, as the tyres then, what Cowboy went on was another set of medium tyres, I believe, unless he was on the softs. Dino went on mediums from hards. Ushin's gone hards then, instead of mediums now, and Dre's gone on another set of medium tyres. So Dre is doing the another strat, what I did say. So that still could instigate that there's possible rain, as the weather isn't cloudy as it was in qualifying though, as Callum Anderson has stayed out in the Ferrari on soft compounded tyres, which is a very interesting strategy. He could go mediums, go near the back of the grid and have a big undercut than Bugatti, as the safety car will be coming in, I believe, next lap.
Yeah, and just as a quick note, Callum nearly went into the safety car after the first sector through the chicane. He didn't expect it to be that slow. That's kind of a Hamilton move. I mean, I remember Silverstone 2016, where he nearly went into the safety car through Copse, it was, I think. And yeah, Callum maybe should leave a bit more of a gap, as I'm just noticing right now. I think the sun is coming through a bit more. Yes, the sun is shining now, so it seems like the overcast weather conditions could be gone.
Well, that is possibly not going to be good news then for the people on the hard compounded tyres of Ushin, as he will be on the slow compound and will be quite far back on pace wise compared to the medium runners and the soft runners right now, but he's still got a pit stop strategy ahead of quite a lot of people who didn't pit. As right now Callum Anderson will be a bit happier now that his soft tyres may get a bit more temperature in them, and he doesn't really need to heat them up that much, especially in that Ferrari.
We've got a lot of interesting tyre situations now. Lico being behind From, who got past him on lap 1, and From being behind Sutty, who is on the medium compound, and Ash is just behind his teammate Lico, also on the medium compound, but Tim right behind him is on the soft tyre, so he might be looking for an overtake right away after the safety car restart. We need to keep an eye on those guys, but like I said, also Greeny could be a man to watch at the safety car restart with his Ferrari powered car.
Yep, that is true, of course, as well, yeah, Sutty is on those mediums, and right now Sutty has basically possibly got a podium out of this as long as he can keep out of contact, out of any damage to the car at all, and out shredding his tyres on the safety car restart, of course. Because everybody else on softs now, I did say softs could probably go to lap 13, lap 14. They probably now can go to lap 15, but they're going to have to go mediums, and mediums, yeah, they don't get really optimal to lap 3 or 4, where you're going to get some decent pace in them. So it's going to be very interesting what the guys do on soft tyres when they will pit, of course. So that's another thing we do have to take into an account, as we're now on lap 3 out of 22 of this race, and we're still under the safety car, but I believe the safety car will be coming in.
I hope it will. I think we've seen enough of the yellow flags now. I mean, the debris is clear. There never was a lot of debris on the track, but the game still thought it was necessary to get the safety car out, and yes, it is coming in at the end of this lap, and we will be going back to green flag racing on lap 4 of this race.
Yeah, that is true, as we'll see Callum Anderson leading everybody else, and he can go slow as he wants. Could even go 1 mile an hour if he wanted to, as long as nobody crashes into him, as he is the lead car then. And I wonder if Bigaddi's possibly going to try and think, as soon as he gets that safety car restart, if he's going to try and dive it into turn 1, or if he can even get close to him. As we have said, the Ferrari engine compared to the Honda is miles quicker. The Ferrari engine. Callum has now started to go, and he has
that was a great restart.
He has gone through the chicane then, as Ushin's got a 5-second time penalty hitting Dino right now then, as the guys don't even have a chance to dive bomb as we go green in Belgium.
Boomer's quite far away as well, but let's keep an eye on Greeny. That's what I said. He now has the advantage with his Ferrari powered car. He's only 2/10 behind the Red Bull of Boomer right now, as they're flying down to turns 2, 3 and 4 of the Eau Rouge section. There they come. Here comes Greeny with his Ferrari powered car. He goes to the outside. Can he make the move stick? He should have the engine advantage. Yes, he does. He flies past him. Yellow flags in the background. That's a Mercedes spun. That's Sutty.
That is Sutty's strategy then. Game over there, and it looks like.
Oh, look at Cherry Dupas. He's got past Boomer as well. He took advantage of that battling between Greeny and Boomer, and he just took the place from him. Very nicely made indeed.
And that's going to disappoint Boomer, as he was in a podium position, and now he's just lost 2 positions there from a Mercedes power car and the sister team of Red Bull of Toro Rosso. Right now, as Nano Baker's not that far off him, and he's got the Mercedes engine, so if Nano can close up a little bit, possibly could challenge him. However, though, that aero and chassis package on that Red Bull will be preventing the race point getting that close.
Yeah, and Ash has immediately lost the place to Tim Hall whiz on a quicker compound. So the Williams driver now down to P10. His teammates still in P8. And also, obviously, many people now gained a spot. I think everyone was behind Frome, including Frome, have gained a spot from that spin from Sutty, who he's running around the track with front wing damage right now.
Yeah, that is true, of course. And also, Ushin's quite far off, so that contact with Dino may have spun Ushin there. And Ushin is unfortunately in 18th, 15 seconds off. Callum sets the current fastest lap. Oh, Greeny actually beats that, 1:48.5 there. So Greeny sets a new fastest lap then in the Williams. And Lickle's actually under threat by the Renault Tim right now.
Yeah, I can confirm to you though that Ushin had to pit. He probably made contact with the rear wing of the car in front, then got a 5-second time penalty and lost a bit of front wing, so he had to pit again. But let's have a look at Tim right here. He should have a good shot at P8 right here, as we yet again have yellow flags, and there's a car spun and into the wall. But here comes Tim round the outside of Lickle, currently second in the championship. They're going side by side through here. They leave each other enough room and enough respect in that fight right here. Can Tim get the spot though? No, he can't. Lickle defends really well and keeps P8 for the moment.
Yeah, that was some good defending. There's a bit of wheel banging, of course, there, as Lickle does want to stay ahead of the Renault and have a chance in this championship against Bugatti. Although Bugatti is doing what he needs to do, and he's currently in second place, maybe losing a little bit of time to Callum Anderson, which is expected, of course. But look at Greeny. Greeny's actually closing on Bugatti right now, and so is Cherry. So as Bugatti got an issue with the Toro Rosso on those soft compounded tyres, as Callum Anderson is absolutely dominating Bugatti right now. It's 1.7 seconds. The gap is already just with one lap of racing.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely see what was expected. I mean, on this really power-related track, Bugatti's losing time in the with his Honda engine. So Callum is running away with it at the moment.
Sorry to cut you off there, but he comes from round the outside. He's going to try the switch then, it looks like, on the racing point of Nano Bacon. Let's see if he gets a good exit, and he's on an okay exit. Could he go for a dive into turn 1, or is he going to be patient and wait to Arouge as counts this new fast lap? 1:48.4. His DRS has now been enabled, so Lickle will be extremely under threat now from that Renault of Tim, that right behind him.
Yeah, we might see two overtakes at the same time. We've talked about Frome right behind Nano Bacon, and now we've got Tim right behind Lickle. In both cases, a Renault engine car behind a Mercedes engine car, and it looks like Tim could actually go for a move here. He's got a great run out of Rouge, and he gets past Lickle. Didn't really put up a big fight. He's gone into non-arrest mode, while Frome and Nano Bacon are going for it. They're still side by side. Now down into the right-hander. Frome should have the advantage, and yes, he gets the spot.
And that's what you call great wheel-to-wheel racing there. A lot cleaner than the moves with Tim and Lickle there with the wheel banging, and as Frome with the experience just showing right now that he has got the pace and has got the experience to get past a Mercedes powered car of the race point, and now sits in P6 right now, and will surely challenge Boomer in a few laps time.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at the situation for P2. Green is losing definitely time in the second sector, where it's a lot more technical, but then in the engine related sectors he is gaining again on Bugatti, and Cherry is always like pretty close to Greeny, only 4 tenths behind, but his Honda power is not really helping on the straight and makes overtaking really difficult for the Toro Rosso driver.
Oh, here comes
Boomer just sitting behind him as well.
Around the outside of Joel. Ooh, Joel squeezes him off there, but Joel isn't finished. This is where the Mercedes comes in the dominance, and look at that lunge there. Just completely locks up, misses his judge to the braking point and goes off the track, and unfortunately loses a little bit of time. Now he has to watch out from Dre. Dre is going to try the switch, it looks like, and unfortunately with traction there, the Merc does get the better point of view there. But Joe yet again is locking up, so those mediums don't look like the best tyre compound to be on, especially in the Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't know if Greeny is close enough to Bugatti. He's definitely catching, but I'm pretty sure he won't go for a move. Licker though is quite close to Tim again, but Tim has got the DRS from Nano Bacon in front, while Joe loses a spot to Cowboy now. That looked like a fairly easy move, and Cowboy, after making an early pit stop, is back up to P11, Dre hasn't gone past Juho. There might have been contact, but Dre is in the wall as he tries to rejoin the track. That was really close to contact yet again. And Dino and Joe are going side by side as well. Joe loses another spot. How many spots were there? Well, there's now 2 or 3 within a few corners. Not a great run for Joe right now on his debut, but he's still in P13. Everything's still possible.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Anything could happen. We could have another safety car, of course, and this is what possibly Joel may want. However, Cherry isn't that far off there. Greeny, as Boomer's also not that far off. So, was speaking about Cherry and Greeny. Greeny makes a mistake, and Cherry was so close to that wall there. And I'm surprised he didn't hit that wall. It just looked like he skimmed it there. As right now, though, Cherry is in attack mode right now, as Greeny will be under threat very shortly.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but we did miss that Tim got re-overtaken by Lickles, or Lickles back up into P8 now in his Williams, and these two are scrapping it away, it seems like. But yeah, Lickle definitely gained the spot back. I don't know where it happened. It was too far away on the straight, I think. If I'm not mistaken, though, I think Tim was still in front when we switched onto a different battle.
Oh, right, well, that's well, good to see Lickles actually got another the position back. But I don't think he'll have it for much longer, as Tim will possibly be challenging it, which we will go on board with right now.
Look at Greeny. Look at Greeny. Greeny's gaining on Bugatti. Will he go for a move into Lake Home? He thinks about it, but Bugatti closes the door, is able to defend. But Greeny is always pretty close.
As Tim, as we were speaking about, gets the move done, as Colby also gets the move done on the Ash. So both Williams is getting hounded by the Renaults right now, as Renaults are in 8th and 10th. The Williams is 9th and 11th.
Yeah, it's a very interesting race so far. Basically, what we actually expected from this track. I mean, it's a great track. It's a great track for racing as well. But one guy who's not in any battle right now and who has a pretty boring race, but in a good way, is Callum Anderson, who's already pulled out a gap of 3.6 seconds to Bugatti now. And I am pretty sure if he doesn't make any major errors now, he will be taking that win.
Yeah, it looks like it right now. 3.5 second gap. He looks pretty stable in that Ferrari, as Greeny is gaining on outfields. Bugatti really close now. He's getting a lot of Australian speed. He's going to think about it going through the bus stop chicane. He's going to go around the outside. Juho did this and locked up, and look at that move there. Brilliant move there for Greeny, and he goes into the pits. So he did that to unsettle Bugatti there, and it may have worked a little bit, because now
Callum in the pits as well.
Boomer's actually in second now as well, so Cherry must have pit, and we'll see where Callum Anderson then will come out on the pit stop, as
I really don't know how he didn't get held up.
Well, I thought he got jumped there by Cherry. That's the fast Ferrari mechanics, of course, as here comes Callum Anderson then. Which battle will he go into? And he gets a little bit of free air. But there is a Haas ahead of him though, so he needs to pick up the pace, especially on those mediums, as long as he wants to keep that position. Bugatti could have been doing banker laps, and now may start picking a little bit of the pace right up, as now he's built a gap with Boomer, 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, Greeny is 8/10ths behind Juho, but he might catch up now in the middle sector on his fresh compound of tyres. So he might get held up, which could prove very crucial for Bugatti indeed. He needs to put in a really good in-lap to actually stay in front of Greeny, and Juho could play a major part in that. And yes, he does. It looks like Greeny's really losing time behind Juho right now, just around 3/10ths behind him, and he's definitely feeling that dirty air, and he won't be happy with that one.
Well, speaking about dirt, yeah, Dino's been behind Ash for a little bit now, as Dino is in 6th place. He did make a stop early under the safety car conditions, and right now, if he could take those mediums to the end, as we didn't actually count this in actually as a factor, the people who actually pitted on the safety car on mediums could go to the end of this race and actually could possibly win, as Dino is in 6th, challenging Ash right now, who also I believe made a pit stop. No, Ash didn't. The head Renault actually made a pit stop of Cowboy.
Boomer
is
didn't
in.
pit.
Bugatti is in.
Has stayed out for another lap, but there goes Greeny around the outside of Juho right now, coming into the bus stop chicane. They need to leave each other enough room, and Greeny does so again round the outside. A really nice move, but let's see where Bugatti comes out now. I'm pretty sure that Greeny has lost quite a lot of time. He is passed for the moment, but Bugatti has the shorter run now.
Oh
Will
no,
he be in
Greeny's
front?
done it.
No, Bugatti loses the place, and the undercut has worked for Greeny.
Ah, but look at Juho, he's really tasting that Toro Rosso in front. He wants that position, and look at him, right on that rear end. Looks like he could get a double slipstream from both Toro Rossos and possibly pass them both. Let's see what Juho can do then. Unfortunately can't make the move there. And after, oh, Cherry almost makes a mistake there into the chicane, and had to do a little bit of avoiding action there.
Yeah, maybe. I think Boomer might be gambling on a safety car, might be praying for a safety car right now, because he's still out on his soft tyres. He will be majorly undercutted, but he might think he is able to catch up when those guys who were in front of him will battle again. So we might see him catching up back again on a fresh set of tyres.
Ash gets a little bit shoved off then, a little unsettled, and loses position to Dino there, which is unfortunate to see, as Callum Anderson now is on the debut driver of Joel, and Callum Anderson's trying to go on the inside there of Joel, trying to unsettle him, to try and get through to the position, but unfortunately Joel holds position. There's a yellow flag somewhere, unfortunately my track map is not showing it, and it's actually the Renault. Cowboy's into the wall, and that's it. That's his possible race win out of the window. As here comes Callum Anderson and Joel side by side through the bus stop chicane. Who's going to break later? And it looks like it's going to be Joel. Callum Anderson has to give him space, and he does there, and Joel retakes it. But Callum Anderson, that's another battle dead ahead of Dino and Ash, still fighting it off into turn one as Boomer finally peels into the pits, as Greeny sets a new fast lap with a 1:48.3 on the medium compacted tyres. Tim actually beats that 48.1 also on the mediums.
And all that battling which Callum Anderson was involved in really helped Greeny. He's only 1 second behind. Callum had a 3.5 second gap when he was in the lead before his pit stop. Now it's only a 1 second gap, but right now Callum is still trying to get past Joe, who's not giving up easily right here. He's still hanging it down the inside, slight contact, but that's fine. No cars off the track right now, as there's been a spin.
Actually, Bugatti's gone.
It's Bugatti!
Bugatti's dropped to 11th, and this is good news for Lickle. Lickle's in 14th right now. Not in a points paying position. Look at From's looking hungry. From settles it down on the inside. Bugatti does a switch though.
Oh, what a beautiful switchback.
Bugatti's got to give him space though, and Bugatti, yep, there you go. Brakes early again. Tries to switch. I think, oh, From almost loses the rear there. And there goes Bugatti. Bugatti says thank you very much.
Side by side through Pouon usually doesn't go well, doesn't end well, I'm sorry. Does it now though? They leave each other enough room, wheel banging, but it seems like they've got enough respect for each other right here. They're still going side by side again. Bugatti gets a bit wide, and now From takes the position from him, and that has gone horribly wrong. I didn't see what happened, but Bugatti, who was second before the pit stop, is now down to 12. And Tim, no, it's Juho. Juho spun.
So Juho's round this time as well, as Mr. Tuesday Night, or as Joel is challenging right now. Go around the outside, goes quite deep there to try and get past the Toro Rosso of Cherry 2 Pie there. Mr. Tuesday Night.
Oh, and look at Bugatti. Bugatti's trying to move around the outside of Boomer. He gets the inside line for the next left-hander, and yes, he gets past Boomer, who was behind him before the pit stop. And From now tries to go around the outside of Boomer as well. Can he make the move, stick down into turn one? Lasso's, he's still around the outside, still side by side, but Boomer is lacking straight line speed right now. It seems like the Renault engine is that little bit faster than the Honda one on this game.
Oh, it's Callum Anderson's actually getting passed
really
by
close.
Ash. Oh no, he doesn't. He stays behind, and I'm quite surprised actually. Callum Anderson didn't challenge the Red Bull down the straight line. So what is Dino's aero package? Is it 1-1 wings? Because right now that Ferrari should have had a lot of better run on Dino there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fighting going on right now. It's very hectic after the pit stop. I'm not really sure. Can the medium runners who pitted under the safety car, can they actually go to the end?
I don't know. Tyre wear isn't really an issue around here. It's Spa. Like, you can do a one-stop soft to meets quite early from lap 6. So, you know, as Callum is actually trying to think of a move now on Dino. Got a good run. Going to go on the outside. Possibly try to switch. Oh, Dino stops that from happening, but leaves the door open. Oh, for some reason it went to Ash there, as Callum is still side by side with Dino. Dino is letting him have a little bit too much space. And look at Callum now, he's going to get a good run on him. That straight line speed of that Ferrari range compared to the Honda, and look at the speed Callum's got. And there we go, Callum now retakes the lead. As there's another fight.
Third. Oh
Greeny.
no, there's contact between him and Ash. He keeps it on the road though, and now maybe Cherry has a look round the outside of Greeny. No, he can't make the move stick, but Dino breaks himself a little bit, goes wide, and maybe Ash can fight back now, get P2. Callum has retaken the lead. That is really helping him right now. He's gaining a lot because of that fight. He's already 9/10 in front, but there goes Ash down the inside, and he takes the spot. Greeny is taking the spot from Cherry. No, he defended from Cherry, I'm sorry. And now he may
because
get a good run on Ash.
Mr. Tuesday Night's gone past Dino, as he actually isn't a debut driver. Actually, he has raced before, apparently finished. So we did actually get that wrong. He's unfortunately, apparently he's actually
Greeny.
a legend.
Greeny around the outside of everybody on the straight. His straight line speed is mental. The Williams loses out. Ash drops 3 errors, and Cherry gains 1 spot. So does Greeny, and he's only 1 second behind the leader now. So he might be on a hunt now.
Yeah, that is true, of course, as Greeny has got some pace push there. Did miss that back pass as actually there's yellows further behind.
Something happened with Dre. He was slow, might have spun, but many people got past him definitely. And Bugatti, yeah, it's so unfortunate. He was running so well. Certainly we didn't catch what happened, but he's definitely down to P8 at the moment, and that is not what he wants to see. He was running in net P2 before his pit stop.
That is true, of course. And Cherry actually hasn't finished there with Greeny, as Mr. Tuesday Man is Mr. Tuesday. Mr. Tuesday Night is actually Oz Joel, I will say, is in 5th right now and is slowly catching up with Ash. And remember, these tyres are really odd. Have they actually made their pit stops? No, Ash and actually Mr. Tuesday Night actually haven't made their pit stops, so they're out of sequence, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, maybe there could still be a safety car that could spice things up again.
Yeah, that is true, of course.
But Cherry is still really close to Greeny. But like I said, the Honda engine is not helping at all on this track, especially with the overtaking, because you can't overtake in the second sector at all, basically. Maybe into one corner after Pooh on the right-left chicane. But that's going to be pretty difficult as well. But it seems like Cherry is still too far away to make a move on Greeny, and the braking is not heavy enough coming down to Les Combes. But here goes Joe and Dino side by side. Dino makes the move stick around the outside, nice move, and so does From. He goes down the inside though. There's been contact. Nano Bacon is into the wall, and he's dropped out of the points on his fresh set of mediums, and he's got some front wing damage. I think there was contact with Boomer.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Boomer doesn't look like he's got any damage. What about From? Has he got a bit of damage? No, no damage from either car. So it just unfortunate there for Nano Bacon, as he was running well in the points there. Now he's no longer in the points. He's now in 14th as he's being passed by Juho. As right now though, we do have a big scrap for P3. Sorry, P2 right now actually with Cherry. Pulled away from the Williams team of Ash. And Dino is actually not that far. Mr. Tuesday Night is not that far either.
Yeah, but now as everything has calmed down again a little bit, Callum is continuing what he was doing on his first stint, just managing the gap, extending the gap actually, and controlling the race. The gap was down to 1 second or 9/10 at one point, and now it's up to 1.9 seconds again. So he does a really good job so far, and he should have that race win pretty much secure.
As there's more yellows, and there's a VSC. Cowboy is out. That's a little bit of good news then for Mr. Tuesday Night compared to Dino. I mean, sorry, Ash.
That is out of turn 15, I think. That should be turn 15. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to go on board with Sutton right now. I was just going past that right now, but yeah, now the car's been cleared, so great. I can't even see where he crashed. Sadly, can't switch the view back to the car who was actually already retired from the race. but I can't see any hints on how he crashed. But he is definitely out of this race. And yeah, it's really unfortunate for Nano Bacon, who spun into the wall. And now we are under green flag racing again. And Tim Hall is still very close to Dino, who's on 13 lap road mediums.
Yeah, that is true, of course. Ashley got the longest mediums, who still needs to pit 14 laps from the start. Has won lap 15 out of 22.
Bugatti has gained quite a lot on Tim, actually. He's only 2/10 behind now. He might go for a move into the bus stop chicane. I don't know what the gap was before, but I'm pretty sure it was a bit more than that right now. But this could be a four-way fight for P4 right now, as I think Dino and Ash still have to make another pit stop.
Well, I don't think
yes,
Dino
both dive into the pit lane.
I was wrong. Dino actually has peeled into the pit, so Dino and Ash couldn't stay out for much longer. Ash did have to make a pit stop anyway, but Dino could have gone to the end. Right now then, that promotes Bugatti back into P5 right now. He was on a podium possibly.
Yeah, and he's still not too far away from Tim. And Tim hasn't got any DRS that might save him. So we might see a move from Bugatti here on lap 16 of this race. Bugatti is gaining. He's in overtake ERS mode. Tim defends the inside line. Not quite. He leaves the door open. And Bugatti says, thank you very much. Goes down the inside and takes P4. Nice move from Bugatti. And he's up into P4. And sadly, 6 seconds down on the podium.
Yep, that is true, of course. As Greeny hasn't lost that much time. The gap between Greeny and Callum is roughly stabilised on about 1.5 to 1.6 seconds each lap. Even with Cherry though, Cherry's still within slipstream and just can't catch Greeny right now because of the engine possibly and the aero package he has, or he may be staying behind as an advantage. Waiting for the closing stage of the race. We did see this from Ash with Lickle last week. You know, Ash tried to stay behind. Unfortunately, Ash actually had a DRS failure, which we didn't know about, which at the end of the day, which cost him a possible win. And Cherry may be actually doing the exact same, except he hasn't got DRS failure.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few very tight gaps at the moment, and Cherry is actually very close to Greeny, coming down into the bus stop chicane. If he can get a good exit out of La Source, he might be able to set up a move on the main straight. Callum Anderson picks up the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:47.8, and but we still got some guys on the soft compound. Also Joel, currently the first out of those who are on the softs right now in P9. Very impressive.
Yeah, that is true, of course, and yeah, he's doing quite well right now, especially in 9th.
And here comes Cherry. Cherry goes round the outside on the straight. Greeny, can he hold it? No, he tucks in behind, accepts his fate for the moment, but he might be able to fight back at some point. Tim Hall and Bugatti are going for it yet again. Tim Hall gets pushed out wide a little bit, but Bugatti holds it round the outside and he gets the spot back. Tim slightly touches the gravel even, and quite hard racing so far, but I think it's still within the limits.
Yeah, of course it is within the limits, of course. If you completely push somebody completely off the track, 4 wheels off, that's completely out of order.
Someone spun.
That's Greeny.
I think that's Greeny. Greeny has spun. Greeny has spun from P3 right after being overtaken from Cherry, and that has put Bugatti right behind him again, and Bugatti might be up for a podium now.
Yeah, that is true, of course.
He might have touched the inside curb to Pujon. If you do that, you're basically, yeah, dead.
Yeah,
because the car is basically not savable anymore, and it will just spin out, and the rear end will kick out.
Yeah, that is true, of course, as Bugatti now sees a possible podium in sight. As Callum Anderson is just doing what is expected. However, Cherry just gained a little bit of time on him there, though. And gap now steps to 1.9. As this yellow's further down, that is Juho. He's into the gravel. Ooh, Nano has to... It was a safe rejoin. There was no big impact right now. As Greeny then will be under threat then from Bugatti and Tim. I don't count out Boomer. Boomer's not actually that far off. He's doing sets new fastest lap, 1:47.3. So Cal Manson has lost that fastest lap now. I believe his fastest lap was a 47.8. So if Cal Manson wants to try and get the fastest lap back, he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit more.
Got a bit too far away still, but he's still got 5 laps, including, if you include this one, he's still got 5 laps to make the move for P3. And I haven't seen many time penalties as Dino picks up one in exactly that moment. So I'm not sure how it is in terms of the time penalty situation. But Greeny might actually be struggling with overheated tyres now after a spin. That is quite often the case.
That is true, of course. Greeny's going to have to cool those tyres down, and I think that's what he's trying to do. He's left his ERS mode on 0. He's probably saving a little bit of fuel, but this just puts him in the clutches of the Toro Rosso and the Renault, and possibly the Red Bull of Boomer, as Boomer is now just in DRS range of Tim. So Boomer, even with that long strat he made on those soft tyres, he's gaining very so slowly right now to these drivers right now, as Bugatti is getting a lot closer as Yellow's Juho's crashed through a Rouge, it looks like. I believe it's
think that's
Juho.
Sutty.
Oh, it's Sutty, is it? I thought it was Juho,
Yep.
my bad. That is Sutty then. Unfortunately, he's lost it again through a Rouge, and that's unfortunate for him. But here comes Bugatti then, possibly going to make a move into turn 1. Oh, stays behind, very sensible there, so he gets another
Oh, he
DRS
gets hit
on.
from behind!
Oh, I missed
Tim
that.
has outbraked himself and has hit Bugatti, I think. He had to save the car, and now everything he's done to set up this move is completely for nothing now. It's basically wasted just because Tim misjudged his braking a little bit and went into the back of Bugatti. He held it quite well though. He's still within the DRS, but he definitely won't be happy with that. I mean, if you set up a move and something like that happens, that's very frustrating, and he's running out of laps right now.
We are on lap 19 now out of 22, so not a lot of laps left to make the move and to make it stick. Especially with the ERS these two actually have, and Tim's only got 16%, and Boomer, he's got half his ERS left. Frome's not that far off either, he's also got 0.5% of his ERS, and he's got fresher tyres, I believe. No, he hasn't. He's actually got 10 laps. It's actually Boomer who's got the one who's got the fresher tyres compared to everybody else, except Bugatti's the closest one to him. As Mr. Tuesday Night gets a 3-second time penalty, currently in 9th. Could lose 9th position from Ash, and also could lose the position from Dino as well, as they're all scrapping away further behind. As Sutty is retired then, so Sutty has called it a day in the Mercedes team and said, that's it, I can't do any more. As Calman sets new fastest laps, Calman did pick up the pace, 47.2. So Calman is just showing that Ferrari still got some pace in it on those 11 laps old mediums. There's a gap between him and Choti Pai is 3.4 seconds.
I think Bugatti has made a mistake into the bus stop chicane. I was on board with him, and it looked like he slightly locked the rear tyres, went in a bit too deep into the corner, had to correctly oversteer, and that's what put him a bit further behind. But he is still very close, in within 0.2 of a second, and yes, he should be definitely close enough. And here he comes on the straight, and yeah, the camel straight makes it pretty easy for him. And Greeny doesn't really defend. I bet he will be prepared to fight back in the next few laps. But From got past Boomer right now, even though Boomer's on fresher tyres. So From moves up into P6.
Yep. From is in the P6. Dino was only a couple of tenths off Ash just earlier, and now he's almost a second. So he's made a mistake somewhere, and he's now, if he wants to get that final point, which he possibly still could get with the penalty what Mr. Tuesday Night has, anything could happen, of course, as Choti Pai is now stabilised the gap between Callum Anderson, now 3 seconds. Gap stabilised too, but Callum Anderson right now, we've got to talk about him for a little bit. He's led the race from lap 1, like overtaking Bugatti. He's had a good restart under the safety car, and he's managed to control this race and not make any mistakes right now.
Yeah, and we still I kept an eye on the gap between Greeny and Bugatti right now, and the gap between Greeny and Bugatti is bigger than the gap between Greeny and Tim. So maybe Greeny now needs to be a bit careful and needs to watch out to not also lose P4 after he already lost P3. It is still 2 laps remaining in this race. He's still got chances to get that podium back, but it's going to be a 3-way fight for it, I think. And Tim is not looking too slow either. He might be up for that podium as well.
That is true, because we're all on the penultimate lap. We got to get some good exit, but look at Greeny. Greeny's not that far off, and Greeny's now going to use ERS mode for the quickest ERS mode down the straights. But don't count out Tim. It could be a 3-wide fight into the chicane. Bugatti defends on the inside. That's his defensive move he's made. Oh, and there's a little bit more contact. Has to give him space. Bugatti's got to give him space there, and there was not enough from Bugatti. Bugatti almost shoved him completely off there, and that was a bit aggressive. A bit too aggressive, especially for Greeny, as he was significantly alongside, and that could possibly lead to a penalty further down the line for Bugatti if he's not careful. And now this is now set up Tim.
I gotta say though, to be fair, coming down into Lecombe, Bugatti had the inside line and Greeny didn't leave much space for him either. So there definitely wasn't a car width of space on the inside. Even though they were fully alongside, fully side by side, Greeny should have left a bit more space into the right-hander before. So maybe that was a bit of payback from Bugatti.
I've just noticed something. What's happened to Callum Anderson?
Oh yeah, he's slowing down.
The gap was 3 seconds, now it's 1.5. Has Callum got a slow puncher or something on those mediums? The tyres don't look that bad, or he's just cracked under pressure, and if it could go all wrong now, if he just makes one little mistake,
look at Tim.
Penalty.
Tim is setting up a move round the outside of Greeny. He goes off. Nah, he doesn't go off, but he goes deep.
From.
And yeah, Frome could take the advantage from that now, as he's right behind him, right upon his rear wing, and the Renault's really under pressure right now, as we've got 2 battles at the same time, one for P3, one for P5 now.
That is true, of
We're
course.
on the last lap.
Here comes Frome now. He wants a bit of the Renault position, wants to take another position in 5th. Tim tries to not let him through on the outside, but Frome just gets the gap in. Greeny and Bugatti are still fighting ahead. They're still trying to get the position on one another, as Greeny's actually lagging a little bit. Right now, the Callum Anderson's picked up the pace now, 2.6 seconds, so that mistake he did make was only a little blunder, and now he's picked the pace back right up.
And as we're on the last lap, hopefully we won't see an over-opportunistic dive bomb at some point, as Boomer loses the rear end and nearly puts the car into the wall. And we've got yellows in sector 1, that's McLaren,
crashed.
that's Nano Bacon.
No, that's a race point, not McLaren. No,
I said Nano Bacon, not McLaren.
Oh, sorry, my bad, I thought you said McLaren. Well then, as we're on the final lap of this race, looks like Callum Anderson is going to take a dominant win now, as these gaps on 3.1 seconds, so the gap he lost, he's now increased again. But Boomer isn't finished with Tim. However, Fix, if you can keep an eye on that battle right now, as I'm going to have to switch on board with Callum Anderson. As here comes Callum Anderson then, through the final corner, almost loses the rear end, and he's going to take the win in Spa. Also the fastest lap as well, 146.7 there, so maybe he's setting up for fastest lap. Cherry takes second.
Oh, Tim outbrakes himself, he loses the rear end and he slams into us Boomer into the last corner. Boomer takes the position from him, and Tim has just blown his position. No, he hasn't. He's got it back on pens, but Tim went in way too deep into the bus stop chicane, lost the rear end, and was then tried to save the car, came across the track and slammed into Boomer, who then took the place afterwards.
Well, Dre's not finished with Ushin right now for P13, but Ushin gets the upper hand. Ushin will take 12th, Dre takes 13th, and Juho will take 14th. With Frome in 5th, Tim Hall 6th, Boomer in 7th, Lickle in 8th, Ash 9th, and Mr. Tuesday Night does take a point, going back to the FPs here in 10th.
Yeah, we had a really good race, and yeah, Jared, I think what you've realised with a gap between Callum and P2, I think that was just because of the fastest lap. I think it was just saving ERS and fuel. And there it is, a double Toro Rosso podium though. That is very important for Bugatti to actually get it. to fight a little bit back in the championship and to extend the championship lead again after Licker was closing in. And yeah, the Williams really isn't it on this game. It's really difficult to score a good result. We definitely saw that with Bugatti and Licker in the last few races.
Yeah, that is true, of course, but it's only important for one man today, and that is Callum Anderson. Starting in second, it takes the lead out of Rouge from the big straight, and Cherry Tupai takes second then. Bugatti will take third, so as you said, Toro Rosso second and third though. Greeny does finish in fourth after that little mistake he made and lost a lot of time from Callum Anderson. From takes fifth, Tim in sixth there. Boomer, it drops to seventh by penalties. Lickle takes eighth. I think it was a recovery driver. He started 10th, so he got some points on the board. Ash in 9th. Mr. Tuesday Night takes P10 there and scores a point after his return to the FP tier. Dino in 11th. Ushin takes 12th. Dre 13th. Juho 14th. Nano Bacon does finish 15th, finishing the 9% rule. Sutty, TMC Cowboy, Mr. Grumpy, AMS, all DNF'd in today's race.
We had a pretty good race, I'd say. A lot of battles going on, especially after the first pit stops being made, and yeah, very exciting, and most of the time very clean racing as well. That is definitely what you want to see.
Well, yeah, that is true, of course, and as I did say at the start of the race, unfortunately we won't be able to do interviews because there's been a party glitch going on in the parties me and Felix have been joining, so we don't want to have that with the stream and everything, and make it all sound weird. But yeah, it's been a very interesting race, very great race. Few incidents, safe car on lap 1. I've got to say though, I think the best race we've seen at the moment, well, with me commentating with you as well. What do you think, Felix, on your opinion?
Yeah, I'm really happy to have been commentating over this race. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, the drivers behaved very well, especially on the first lap, and all in all pretty clean. And very good racing, a lot of unexpected things going on. Bugatti fighting back after a spin and still taking a podium. So yeah, and of course Joel on his comeback taking P10.
That is true, of course. Well then, I think that's it from both of us there. So this has been PSGL Season 25 FP Round 8 at Belgium. I've been your commentator, IRL Neon. I've also been joined by my co-commentator, Felix.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And if you guys want to see more content for FP, join us next Tuesday, which I believe we're at Italy. I believe so that'll be another action-packed race. Overtakes every lap, possibly. You never know, anything can happen, of course. But see you guys then, and have a nice day, and goodbye for now.